Golair, and welcome to the Loaf of Bread GAA podcast, slicing into the GAA of the past, present and future. Join me, Jason Keelan, as we cut into the largest loaf of bread known to mankind. Hello, Diegwich, bonjour, ni hao, konnichiwa, guten tag and privyet to you all wherever you're listening in. What started as a message to 10 clubs has now expanded to more than 50 clubs globally from all continents. The journey through Loaf 2 GAA Global continues this week as we move on to our next destination in the GAA world. So come with me on the GAA journey of a lifetime and meet clubs from Canada to Argentina, South Africa to Gibraltar, Bermuda to the North Pole, New Zealand to Kuwait, Knoxville to Qatar, and literally everywhere in between. So grab the passports, grab the bags, it's time to go. On Slice 35 I have the chats with two awesome men, Kristopher, the founder of the Augusta GAA club, and navyman Erik. We chat all things Augusta GAA, being at Wexford vs Kilkenny 2004 in Croke Park, Perdue College hurling, the rivalries of Michael Cusacks, Orlando, Atlanta and others, a man from Tullamore, having no Irish pub in the area, maroon and white jerseys, becoming Hurling Kings of the southeast, jabbing in the back, and much more. And a quote that will live long in the memory: Father Jack is an inspiration. But first, as is tradition, let's take a trip to the home of the US Masters and find out all about Augusta in the beautiful state of Georgia. Bon Soltas.
Well, here it comes. Oh my goodness. Oh, wow!
Welcome to Augusta, Georgia. Not just a golf course, but the beautiful area in Georgia itself, and home to that famous shot heard around the world in 2005 by Tiger Woods. I'm on the first visit to the beautiful state, and I'll be back here again with the gang from Atlanta GAA very soon. It's kind of ironic that I'm writing this history piece today. It's the first time I've ever got an eagle playing golf in 21 years of playing the sport, so it was appropriate that I write all about Augusta GAA today. Of course, I've already been close to the area when in South Carolina recently on a podcast episode. Augusta is named after Princess Augusta, bride of the former Prince of Wales in the 18th century and a relation of King George III. It was former British MP James Oglethorpe who founded Augusta, just a couple of years after setting up nearby Savannah. The area would become centred around the cotton industry, as was common in the region at the time. Eventually it would be textiles which would dominate the industry. In 1916 the city suffered a major fire, which took apart chunks of the area and destroyed huge swathes of history. As time progressed, the issue of race came about, as it happened or was happening in surrounding areas in the US. Riots over the death of one black man, Charles Oatman, in 1970 led to huge tensions and fighting, resulting in the deaths of 6 black men. Each one, however, was shot in the back by a member of the police. It would take the intervention of the iconic godfather of soul and Augusta native, James Brown, to reduce the tension and violence. Today the city is a thriving one and is home to centres for industrial names like T-Mobile, Bridgestone, John Deere and Kellogg's. Some great names from the city are the likes of Quentin Aaron from The Blind Side, Lawrence Fishburne from The Matrix and Boys in the Hood among others, artist Jasper Johns, President Woodrow Wilson and astronaut Susan Kilrain. On the sporting side, names include golfers Charles Howe, Larry Mize and Vaughn Taylor, and former NFL man Jimmy Johnson. But another name which has to be mentioned is this man.
Depending on the character of shot required. Now up here where I'm near the green and the hole is far back, I use this mesh iron, a club which has very little loft, because I need...
Bobby Jones was the most successful amateur golfer to take on the world of the small ball. Among his many accolades, Jones is also known for his design of and foundation of the iconic Augusta National Golf Club, which is home to the enthralling Masters Tournament, perhaps the greatest event on the world golf stage. It is the theme music from the Masters that you're listening to in the background. Of course, it's always fun if you're winning, but Jones and others designed the course to make sure you had to work for it. And for some, even the best of the best, the course swallowed them up and would snatch victory from them just as it looked to be going their way.
Jordan Spieth trying for his second Masters win in a row.
Opening par.
The 22-year-old known for his nerves of steel in the lead, but then the 12th hole. Right into Rays Creek.
He's getting up.
He swings again.
Oh my goodness.
His third shot at redemption.
Unbelievable. I'm losing count, Frank.
It is the great Jack Nicklaus who holds the record of Masters wins with 6, as well as being the oldest winner of the tournament at the age of 46. Tiger Woods is second on the list with 5 wins, including the amazing chip-in you heard back at the very start in 2005. Augusta GAA was founded by one of the men you're about to hear, Kristopher, after a journey to Ireland in 2004. By 2009, his love of Ireland and all things Irish had evolved to the point where enough gear existed to play hurling. By 2012, the club also had football on their list of sports. But here is where we need the lads to tell us a bit more. And by the way, for the Father Ted fans, Kristopher designs his own Craggy Island GAA hurling t-shirts. Go to setantes, setantees.threadless.com to find out more about them. They look amazing. So let's meet Kristopher and Erik and find out all about Augusta GAA. How are you, Kristopher?
Doing good.
What's the weather like in Augusta?
It's a little warm today. It's in the 80s Fahrenheit, so
yeah, it sounds tough. My heart bleeds for
yeah,
you. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
Well, we say that now, but we've been playing all summer when it's been 95 and 100. So
Okay.
that's the tough part.
I've not been to Augusta. I haven't been to Georgia at all.
Oh, really?
I've been to 20. I think I've been to 26 states.
Okay.
But Georgia's not one of them. So yet I'm a big golf fan. I'm a massive golf fan, and I've not been to Augusta. I think it's definitely on my list of things to do. So
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, it's cool. I've been to the Masters a few times, just because we had family members that have the tickets every year, and we have people that work in the club now that work at the National. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, I might start with you if that's all right. And Erik will probably come in a couple of minutes, because I'm trying to find out about Augusta GAA, because it's quite a lot of the clubs that I've come across have been, I won't say maybe better known than you guys, but Augusta was not a place that I expected to be in touch with a GAA club. I expected to maybe be, begging somebody for tickets to the Masters or something rather than talking about GAA. So
Right.
I suppose for everyone who's listening, what's your own background yourself, or what do you do yourself?
I worked in newspapers for a long time, and covered pretty much everything you can think of, from sports all the way down to county and city government, that sort of thing. And now I work at the Burns Center in Augusta as a photographer and videographer,
Nice.
among other things. But so I do a lot of I'm on the marketing team, so I do a lot of promotional videos and a lot of corporate photography type of thing now. I used to do only patient photography, so I've seen a lot of things in the Burns Center.
Wow. I'd say so. Yeah, that sounds pretty amazing. Yes. And Erik, am I right in saying you're a Navy man? Is that correct?
Yeah, in the Navy. So.
Yeah, we don't have a huge amount of Navy expertise in Ireland, despite being an island country. Wouldn't be the biggest known Navy in the world, I would say. How long are you in the Navy?
Since 2015 January. So.
Okay. And was it a career path you always wanted, or?
It was something that I wanted to do, but never stay in for forever. But so I'll be actually getting out next year.
Okay.
That comes soon enough. So.
Okay. And I know it's a lot of secrecy and stuff and confidential, but have you been on any particular? Do you go on tours with the Navy, like kind of we hear with
Um,
the Army and stuff?
well, I'm a comms guy, so guys like me, my particular type, we don't deploy that much. I have been
Okay,
deployed once. It was like right when COVID started, so there were no port calls.
okay,
It didn't seem bad to me, but like everyone else was just like, "Oh, this is the worst deployment ever." But yeah,
okay. And where were you appointed to, or what board did you not get off at?
well, we were basically just whipping donuts right off the coast of Oman, or
Oh
more or
yeah.
less anyway. So
You weren't sent out
yeah.
to fight pirates by any chance, because my honeymoon was off the coast of Oman and we had a piracy incident.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Um, no, I mean like I mean we were a bit of ways from that it seemed at the time. So
yeah. Kristopher, am I right? You're the founding member then of Augusta GAA, or one of the founding members, is that right?
Yes, I am. I started the
And
club back in 2009. So
and on your jersey, have you got a number on the front of the jersey? Am I looking right?
yeah, you can see I'm number 66.
Is
That's
this
me.
true
Star Wars.
true American football style, or what's
Oh
that
yeah,
for?
no, it's when you get from O'Neill's, you get the club kit, right?
Yeah.
So we didn't all want to get our own personalized jerseys with the same numbers that we'd hand out to play games in. So this one's 66 because I'm a Star Wars fan. So
Okay, I'm not great on Star Wars. What's the 66 reference?
uh,
Because
Order 66 was the Jedi, the slaughter of the Jedi. It was called Order
okay,
60. So, yeah.
okay, the kids in my class would probably think I'm a disgrace for not knowing that. But yeah, I'm I'm not, unfortunately, not that much of a Star Wars fan. But yeah, that's
Gotcha.
cool. It does look cool. I've seen a couple of American clubs with
Mhm.
quite high numbers on the jerseys, and I would associate that with, like, my mates who follow the Seahawks and the Packers and all that kind of thing. So yeah,
Right.
it's cool seeing it on a GA jersey, because we never get a number here more than 30 at 32 at a push. So
Right.
getting
Yeah.
66 is pretty amazing. So how did you come to get involved in the GA in a place that everyone in Ireland associates with the Masters?
Right. So I went on a family trip to Ireland with my parents, my sister, my wife. We had just been married less than a year, um, and we didn't have it on the agenda to go to a match or anything like that. But I had heard of hurling before. I'd seen, I think it was a Guinness commercial.
Okay.
With hurling in it, and was like, what in the world is that? So I thought, when I got there, I was like, I got to go find out what this hurling is. And part of what we were supposed to do on a Sunday was go to the like Natural History Museum or something in Dublin. And
Yeah.
my father and my wife and I skipped out on the half of the tour of the museum there and walked all the way to Croke Park. And it was June, so it was a Leinster semifinal between Wexford and Kilkenny. We sat amongst a group of fans from Wexford, and it was, I don't know how much you know about the great games of hurling, but it was the
Hmm.
2004 Leinster semifinal
Oh yeah.
when Wexford pulled out the win in the last second.
Yeah.
And so from there, like I walked downstairs in Croke Park, bought a Hurley, and brought it home with me and said, I gotta learn how to play this. And it took a while for me to do that, because I mean, obviously there's nobody else in Augusta playing hurling. And at the time there were only two clubs in the Southeast. It was Atlanta and Charlotte. Georgia geography, Atlanta's about 2.5 hour drive from us. So after a while I decided, all right, if I'm going to do this, I gotta go ahead and do this. I drove to Atlanta to a practice, and decided to end up going back to the practices when I
Wow.
could make the drive. And but there were so many Americans out there playing. I thought, well, why can't I just do this in Augusta?
Yeah.
And I grabbed a handful of friends that, the kind of guys that are like, whatever you say, we're going to play at the park. They just will come out with you, like American football, we're going to play baseball, or whatever. They would show up. And I said, all right, here's your stick. Here's the way to play. This is what I learned in Atlanta, and we're going to try and do this. And so that's where the club started.
That's amazing, yeah. And Erik, how did you get roped into it?
Well, like I started playing a while earlier. Like I did some like youth trip or whatever over to the UK and Ireland back in summer of 2005.
Okay.
And had never known anything about hurling, never heard of it, seen it, anything like that. And so when we went to Ireland, we spent 9 days of a 21-day trip there.
Wow.
And so found out what hurling was, thought, wow, this is great. Too bad we don't have it stateside.
Mm.
And then come to find out, and I didn't find out until 2010, but 2005 was when the Perdue Hurling Club started.
Okay.
And I grew up 20 minutes from Perdue. So when time came to go to college and everything, like, according to my family, I had one choice, and that was Perdue. So went there, and yeah, exactly. So went there and started playing there. And then when I joined the Navy, I thought, I'd probably never play hurling again. Come to find out, the orders they had cut for me were to Augusta, Georgia. And so I started looking, on Facebook to see, is there a club, anything like that? And they were, this was like 2015, 16. 16. And so looking on their Facebook group or Facebook page, and there was nothing since 2014. And I was sitting there thinking, like, all right, maybe they just went to like a group me type thing, because that's what we did at Purdue. It was easier.
Okay.
And I didn't want to reach out to them or anything like that, because like there's a test at the end of A school that if you fail, you lose your orders.
Okay.
So it would have been worse to find out that yes, they do exist, and then fail and not make it there anyway. So like,
yeah,
I decided I'd just wait and then reach out to them once I got there. So I did, sent like an email, a Facebook message, I don't know what else. And sure enough, they were just starting back up. So yeah,
that's amazing. That worked out. That worked out very well in the end.
yeah.
But Purdue then you said it's close to your home. What's their hurling setup like? Do you know?
So it's of course a collegiate club. I mean, Purdue's like mostly ag and engineering school, of course. So I don't know if that has something to do with it or otherwise, but we managed to get like some Irish foreign exchange students, which definitely helped.
No surprise, yeah.
yeah. So we get guys from UCD. I think we've had a couple from like DC who, as I was told,
yeah.
So, but it started actually. There was a group of guys, Matt Schwertfeger being the ringleader, and still the head honcho. That they went to Ireland over like a semester. I want to say it was like in UIG, I think.
Yeah.
And they picked it up, said, "Yep, we're taking this back with us." And like they've got a fairly close working relationship with the Michael Cusacks in Chicago.
Oh yeah.
Just because like the area where some of those guys, were from or ended up or whatever. So that's kind of like the I want to say like non-collegiate club that they work with the most probably. But yeah, so they got set up then in 2005, and I mean they're still going today. They get, like I said, Irish foreign exchange students, which definitely helps. So that's first collegiate club in the US. That's
cool. Oh right, I didn't know that. I'll have to check them out a bit more. Yeah, did you manage to persuade because I have the NYPD GAA are coming on pretty soon. You haven't managed to get a US Navy GAA team together?
No, I mean obviously like starting out in the Navy, definitely very bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, full of piss and dagger, and I thought I was going to make it happen, but that's not exactly how it worked. I mean, granted, we do have a bit of a history of having some Navy guys in, like since being stationed here and everything like that. We've had some guys, but of course, the typical military problem is that you're moving guys in and out. So guys get permanent change of station and they're gone. We've lost, I don't know how many guys to that. There was one time, this dude was a soldier, not a sailor, but like we were going to go play hurling on this soccer field. And there was a guy just, kicking penalty kicks. And we said, kind of commandeering the field from him, like, here's a hurling, this is hurling, as opposed to saying, hey, can we play here? There's more of us than you. But Like, so we just kind of invited him on. This dude's got a hurley in his hand for 15 minutes, and then he plays a scrimmage with us, and he scored like, I don't know, 3-6.
Wow.
So then we lost that guy the same day because he was going back to Knoxville to see the very next weekend. So it's like, why? But,
I wonder did Knoxville pick him up? I had Knoxville on already. I wonder did they pick him up? Maybe he's the secret weapon they were talking about.
Well, actually, I think it's Nashville for whatever.
Yeah,
I may be getting confused. It's Nashville.
Yeah. Okay.
And they did. There's photos of him playing in their leagues. So
like, yeah, we gave him to you. We traded.
I was going to say Erik is the reason that he's the superstar that he is. That's amazing. Yep. Yeah. What were the early days of the club like, Kristopher? What was membership numbers and stuff like? Is it hard to recruit or?
Yeah, it's incredibly hard to recruit. And this is the problem we run into is that we're competing with so many other sports that people are already familiar with. So, when we get them out, the learning curve is high. If you've never even heard of it, you don't know what you're doing. So we pick up some people. A lot of it is word of mouth, and it was tough in the beginning because it was mostly me being the ringleader, and I'm not the connector type of person. Like, I don't know a lot of people, and we didn't have that. So it was just people that I knew, and they would bring a couple of friends and that sort of thing. But we would probably, in the first several years of the club, I think the highest number of people at a practice or at a scrimmage game we would ever get was we got up to 14 one time, so we played sevens. That's
pretty good.
Yeah, and it was always less than that, so we'd play half field games like you do, half basketball type of thing. But it went up and down, and like Erik was talking about earlier, we got to the point where people had moved on to playing flag football or whatever it was, and it was down to just a couple of us left, and so we sort of just didn't do much for a while. We'd still go out and hit around in the park every now and then, but that was about 2014, like he said, when the Facebook page was empty. And when Erik got into town and contacted us, we had sort of started back up. We had a couple of former members who hadn't played in a while go, "God, I miss playing. We want to get back to it." And I was playing basketball with them at the time. It was the only exercise that I would really be able to get. I wasn't playing hurling. And so I brought a couple of hurleys to the basketball games we were playing. And one guy who was there, his name's Nathan Montgomery, handed him a hurley, and he said, "I'm going to come out and try this." And he absolutely fell in love with it. And he's actually the chair of the club right now, has been for the past. So Erik moved into Augusta at the same time. We had a former Milwaukee, you know how big Milwaukee Hurling Club is. We had a former Milwaukee member contact us, and a lacrosse player, all contacted us about the same time, and that we were deciding to get started again. And so it just worked out. Nathan is one of those who knows everybody, all kinds of people. And so I cannot count how many people he has brought out to play, and they've stuck with it. So he helped us.
You need someone like that at every club, don't you?
Exactly. You got to have that, and that's been. I tell Erik this a lot. I was the lone voice in the wilderness. You got to play this awesome sport nobody's ever heard of, and to have him move into town and go, yeah, he's right. This guy's right. You got to listen. So that helped, and Nathan just knowing everybody who would come out and play. That was really the combination we needed to get things off the ground. And when we stopped for COVID, we had, I think, nearly 60 people involved in our league.
Wow.
So we split into 3 teams and played a round robin every time we got out there. And that's sort of, to me, that's sort of the heart of the club is the league, because you get so many new people coming in all the time that it gives them a chance to play in something where we can stop in the middle of the game and go, okay, here's what you did wrong.
Yeah.
Let's try it this way next time, as opposed to we're playing in a tournament. They're just going to be called, and they're going, I have no idea what I did.
Yeah.
And they can't learn as well that way, I think. So it's better for training, it's better for practice, to have the league within the club, and we can kind of control everything and how everybody gets up to par on the standard of play.
Yeah, you're definitely growing the club the right way by the sounds of it anyway, like a true GA club as over here in Ireland anyway, by the sounds of it. So, and what's Erik on the pitch? What's your experience has been like of the game so far at Augusta?
I mean, it's been great. Like, I mean, you can definitely see how it's changed after being here for so long. Because like when I first got here in 2016, I mean, it was the reboot, right? Like we were just getting back started again. So Chris talks about like the true old days, if you will. Like, you get down to the point where we have 2 people now. When I first started, it was one of those deals where we finally made it up to, we've got 8 people. We can play 4-on-4 on one side of a field. This is a good practice.
Right.
And then, I mean, granted, COVID really took us out, kind of kicked our teeth in a bit. But it was really nice to be able to say, like, we went from 8 people's a good practice to now we've got 30 some people showing up on a Sunday afternoon. Like I'd say the biggest thing to take away from it all was just the change of it all. Just the development of it all, because, with starting from reboot to going to pre-COVID heights and everything was just a massive change. So really getting to see it just build from the ground up and everything like that. I mean, it's an interesting thing, like, especially I think bringing the Irish guys in, with their experience of it and being so vastly different from our own and everything. Like there's very much what you would call the Irish standard versus the American standard. Like it's a completely different thing. Like, I remember back when I was playing with Perdue, we had this senior guy. He was UCD player, the senior dude from Clondalk and Seamus O'Cleric, and he was talking about how, like, lads, there's guys in Ireland are 10 times the hurler that I am. And I remember when I was, an 18-year-old kid, just thinking, like, I mean, I knew it was true, but it's like, there's guys who are 10 times as good as this guy. Like, there's no way this guy, I mean, he was getting, because without Irish players, the Cusacks would destroy us. And like no competition. And Seamus was being double teamed by 2 of these guys, still puts it over the bar, never even takes it into the hand. So it's just like, there's guys that are way better than this guy. I mean, I know it's true, but how? And so like, it's kind of an interesting game for us in that no one started playing when they were a kid.
Right.
I started playing when I was 17 with a collegiate squad and got all the 17 again, you Zac Efron piece of garbage jokes. But yeah, I mean, people are starting when they're 20 some years old. Some people are starting when they're like, we got some guys that start when they're 50. So it's just like the skill level is really not there. And it makes for a very, I don't know, chaotic game, I think. Like when hurling is chaos in general, I think that's, say, but when you look at the American side of it, it's just like, this is a mess. It's beautiful. It's great. It doesn't change the fact that it's still hurling.
It's a mess, but it's our mess.
Exactly. Very much so. Very much.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, you've it does in many ways what you described sounds so like, I know you said there's hurlers out there 10 times the guy, but like for me, who's utterly useless at hurling, like I'd be like, yeah, there is guys who are 10 times better, but who cares? Like, this is what I'm out doing, this is what I'm enjoying. And yeah, it's funny you mentioned people starting at such a late age, even like as you said, in their 50s. Like a couple of clubs I've had on, I've checked their WhatsApp groups, and when they've gone through the 40 or 50 players, they've discovered that 30 something of them are 60 and over. and are just
Yeah.
there essentially for the friendship and the social side, and to be able to tap a ball around it at training, which is kind of where it all begins. So you mentioned Michael Cusacks as well. Have you guys developed is there kind of a, maybe not local rivalries, but is there any kind of rivalries going on with Augusta and any of the teams around you at the moment? Erik is grinning at the bottom, going,
You want to touch that one?
I mean, honestly, for whatever reason,
who do you
could
hate,
almost-
basically? Have to hate somebody.
Nobody, sir. We are proper,
Upstanding gentleman club.
exactly. No, I mean, really, in my case, I think I'm a bit of an outlier for you to ask that question, because for me, it's everybody.
Yep. Good. I like that answer. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I want to beat literally everybody.
Good. Yeah. I like that. No bullshit. Yeah. Everyone's like,
yeah.
no, it's okay. No, we like everybody. They're all nice. No, I hate everybody. Yes. Perfect.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's one of those things where, you know, it's such an underdeveloped thing here that the slightest thing is what you remember, right?
Yep.
So, like, for instance, Atlanta is one of the closest clubs, and they completely, or not, maybe not completely, but all but completely quit playing hurling, at least for their men anyway, right? Like, they still do camogie and stuff, but we're kind of off the radar. It's, you know, we don't have, but like, we never have more than half a dozen women on the pitch at any time. Yeah. We struggle to recruit. We struggle to recruit women even more. So we're kind of off their radar. They quit playing hurling, and for a fanatic, you know, I don't claim to be a reasonable man. Why would you do that? Like, you go in and play in football. Yeah, I know they've got a chance in nationals or whatever. But like, to quit playing hurling, and we're not on their radar. It's kind of like, why would you do this? And then, like, I'd say maybe it's an American hurling thing. Maybe it's a hurling thing in general. I don't know. But it seems like there's definitely some hot-headedness. Maybe I lead the charge on that. Maybe I don't. But there was a game we played in Orlando. I was told it was the guy's, like, first match. He hadn't been playing very long, but he jabbed my club founder in the back with his tail, sent him flying like 4 feet horizontal. Yeah. And it wasn't actually an Augusta team playing. Like, there were, I want to say, like 4, 5, maybe, no, actually, I want to say it was maybe 3. Very few of us. We were supplementing this Tampa side.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, like, we weren't even, you know, the main team there. We're auxiliary players, if you will. And so when that happened, like, I mean, yeah, I understand, like, ugly stuff happens and stuff, but, like, yeah, you jab this guy in the back with your hurl, send him flying. No. So I started running in on him, but I wasn't the only one, and I didn't get there first. The Tampa guys had this guy, like, down, helmet off. I don't remember his name because, of course, I don't, but some dude throwing bows down on this dude's head. And it's just like, man, we're not even your team. And
I know the Tampa guys barely knew me, and they were just like, no, this guy's playing with us.
Yeah.
We're not having that.
Yeah.
You've got every aspect of the GAA, of hurling anyway, there, which is like 2 local clubs, and someone's got hit, and yes, everyone's got everyone's back, but whoever did the damage is going to pay for it. Yeah, it sounds, I wouldn't say that's just an American hurling thing. That's very much a local Irish hurling thing. So you've got the essence of the game, I think, summed up pretty well in that story. Yeah. It's spot on. Yeah, I love the fact you just came straight out and said, "Yeah, I'm not a reasonable man." I love that. It's perfect. It's what I like to hear. Yeah.
So I can answer the other side of that. Is from my perspective, there's, I would say, it's very similar. Like I feel like we're sort of friends with a lot of the clubs because we're all around us, because we're in a very similar situation. We're struggling to make numbers sometimes, you know, and I remember where I was when I started, and I'm always cognizant of that and trying to help other clubs grow. So it's a partnership for me anyway. from my perspective, because I want the game to grow around us, for the sake of the game, for the sake of our club. Well, so um, I tell the story. There was probably the club we're closest to. I would say is Charleston, because, and they're not closest to us geographically speaking, but there was a guy moving to Charleston from Tullamore. His girlfriend.
Wow.
Yeah,
he's been from Tullamore. That's so tragic. Poor guy.
He's apparently Brendan Dagg. He's apparently a hurling legend in Tullamore. So he was moving there. You've been years, and probably 10 years ago now. And his girlfriend sent us a message and said, "Hey, he'd be willing to drive from Charleston to weekly to practice with you guys." But instead of me going, "Yeah, we'll take him, period, no questions asked," I remembered that there was another guy who had just moved to Charleston from Indianapolis and played in the Indy club there. And I said, "No, you need to get Brendan with this other guy, Ryan Strum, who's just moved there. And the two of them need to work together to start a club down there." And since they did, the Charleston club's taken off. So I mean, they're
Wow.
huge in the Southeast.
So I didn't know that's how they started, because I was in touch with them as well. They're potentially coming on down the line. If I'd known they were founded by a man from Tullamore, I would never have contacted them. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know how far out of my geography of America is not the worst, but when it gets that kind of micro, how far is Charleston from you guys?
It's about a little bit over 3-hour drive, probably.
Okay, that's about the width of Ireland. So
right. I mean, that's the problem we run into as well, is like trying to play. The shortest drive we have is probably 2 hours, 2.5 hours to play another club. So
yeah. Wow. Okay, that's it's tough. What about at home then? Like, I know you've got the jersey on. What about sponsorship and a home pitch and all that kind of thing? Like, you couldn't go up to Augusta Golf Club and ask, could we borrow the 9th hole just for a bit of a puck around?
Oh, I know. Beautiful grass there. We play on currently. We play in Columbia County, as the neighboring county has a couple of fields at a park that are just not very utilized for their purposes. Like they don't have official events that go on them. It's just sort of a community type of thing. So we just have sort of commandeered one of the fields in that park. And we just show up there. They have the 8-shaped goals. They're not exactly regulation, but
That's fine.
They work. So and as far as sponsorship goes, we've these jerseys that I have on now, the sort of the official club jerseys, are Cornerstone Granite Company. But this year, our league jerseys are sponsored by Caleb Willing Real Estate. And Caleb was one of those guys that I called that first day when I came to practice or wanted to start a practice. And it was like, "Caleb, you got to come learn the sport with me." And he said, "Okay, I'm there." And Caleb has been with the club ever since then. And he was, I think, like a college freshman at the time. I don't know. But he's got his own real estate company now. So he forked out the money for us to get jerseys for the league this year.
You don't get to do I asked most of the clubs, the traditional Irish local fundraising is go to the bar with like local lottery tickets and try and sell them 3 for €5. You don't have to do that, hopefully.
No, we might go to that eventually. We've been asked by a couple of people. Sean Gallagher was our first Irish member, and he just moved back to Ireland. And he contacted me just a couple of weeks ago and said, "Hey, you guys should think about doing this. This is what the club does at home." And that's the gambling laws here are just so they are in Ireland. I don't know if that's going to work.
So. The gambling laws I've gathered have kind of put a stop to that question for a lot of clubs, particularly when I got to like the Middle East clubs. Asking the guys in Dubai and Abu Dhabi and Oman about selling lottery tickets is probably the worst question I could have asked them. It was just like, no, we just can't do that. So, have you got many Irish in and out the door? You mentioned that man Sean Gallagher. Is there anybody else that's come your way? Or
Yeah, we have actually we have a couple now. Eric, you want to hit Brendan up on this?
Well, I mean, we've got Brendan anyway. So it was Sean Gallagher and then Brendan Garrity, um, and we had them, and that's all I knew of.
Well, we just recently we've had somebody contact us, Neil Murphy from Louth, County Louth, and
Okay.
he's been living in Augusta for a few years, but apparently didn't know we existed. Found us on
Okay.
Twitter and asked if we could get together on Wednesday night. So we got out there and played a little bit of football, and he's mostly he grew up playing football, but he loves hurling too. So maybe we'll. I mean, we
Yeah.
do play both, but some of us play both. Eric doesn't play.
Moral standards is what that is. You know?
Yeah. That man been from Louth. Louth would be very much it's the smallest county in Ireland. It's probably about the size of Augusta's probably bigger than County Louth.
I don't know.
And it's a footballing county. No offense to them, they're pretty useless. And hurling, I'm sure they have a hurling team. I just don't know a lot about them.
Right.
But I'm sure on a local level, you always find good players. They just don't always gel together at the county level.
Right.
Unfortunately, Erik, I ask all the clubs about the social side of things. What's a good celebration or social night with Augusta like?
I would say shut down from what it used to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like once again, you know, COVID kind of hamstrung us. So
What about before COVID? What was a good night?
Before that, you know, we started out. There's this there's a place called Pizza Joint. We would go there. You know, they had really good beer selection. You know, given the local area and everything like that, and of course pizza. So eating pizza and drinking pints of Guinness, which makes culinarily no sense at all, but whatever. And then, you know, from there we went to what was it? It was like Monterey's or something like that. There was a Mexican restaurant that we
Yeah, we
went
did
to.
Mexico for a while. Yeah.
Did that for a while, and then there was this place.
I was going to say, fun fact, we might be the only town in the world that doesn't have a real Irish pub, believe it or
wow.
not.
Yeah,
So-
well, like there's a
dear
place
God.
called Sheehan's, but like you go in there and they're
It's a
playing.
fancy restaurant.
Yeah, it's like a fancy restaurant. You're talking high dollar for plates, and they're playing like Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra when you walk in the door. Which, okay, that's fine, but like
We couldn't bring 30 people in sweaty jerseys. We just couldn't
No.
do it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But so then after the Mexican restaurant, we started going to this place called the Backyard Tavern, which the wonderful laws of Columbia County stipulate that you are not allowed to have a bar. So you can make 51% of your profit on food cannot be booze. I don't know how they did it, but they somehow managed to get grandfathered in as a working bar. It was every inch a bar, and they did, you know, try to put in like a kitchen or whatever. It never worked. They had a crowd. They had like a loyal following that. It you know, I hate to use the term barflies.
Yeah.
But like they were there for the bar scene. It was not a restaurant. It was never going to be. So like they eventually folded, which was a shame. But it used to be like, you know, just this kind of small town dive that we would, you know, all kind of take over on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
And it was a great old time, but you know, it went downhill. After COVID, they weren't really open on Sundays. We were trying to get them talked back into it, and about that time, the county cracked down on them and they folded. So,
Oh, that's a shame. So you've no Irish bar to show the Sunday game?
no.
No, absolutely not. Unfortunately, we don't.
Do you generally try and keep up with the GAA in Ireland? Do you have a particular county you guys follow at all, or?
Yeah. Because of the way I started with Wexford, I'm still a Wexford fan for hurling. So,
Okay.
it's kind of an exercise in futility at the moment. But, you know,
Your club colours are maroon and white, is it?
Yeah, and Eric's going to speak to that.
Because that's my county colours. That's the Westmeath colours. So
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, you should follow them. Maybe I'll follow Augusta since I think you're the
There you
first
go.
maroon and white. I think I'll have to purchase your jersey. I think and wear it.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
But
Sorry, Erik. Go on. Yeah.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. So like we picked maroon and white because I pushed for it. I watched the Leinster final of 2012 back when it first aired.
Oh, Galway.
Yeah, and like I started playing in 2010, and of course it was two teams. It was Kilkenny and Tipperary, and then so to see Galway come in and still being very fresh on the scene, like Galway comes in and beats the unbeatable Kilkenny team, and you see Joe Canning with the behind the back hand pass and everything like that. It's just like that's it, Galway, over everybody. So like had to pull for Galway after that.
That's super because like I can get away with it kind of because I was actually born in Galway, because at the time in '86 when I was born, it was the hospital kind of that was handy to be born in. The one here in my town wasn't great at the time, so they're also maroon and white. And then of course my parents, we've always lived in Westmeath, which is maroon and white. So I have two maroon and white teams I can shout for, which is handy. And now I've got three because I'm gonna claim Augusta as my American team now, since you're the first maroon and whites that I've come across. So
there you go.
Yeah, that's amazing. Have you guys got before a couple of kind of quick fire questions and some fun kind of stupid questions at the end as well? But have you guys got, Kristopher, have you got a standout memory from your time at the club?
Oh my gosh, there's so many.
They can give us a few either. It doesn't have to be just one. So
yeah, there's so many. One of the big things that comes to mind when you say that is I think it was probably the second or third practice since Erik started. So this would be like late 2016. And we just a handful of us. I mean, because there were only a handful of us really, but a handful of us went to eat after a practice, and he said, "Where do you see, like, what's your vision for the club?" I think I've told him this before. I've reminded him of this before, but what's your vision for the club? And my answer was to see 100 people playing hurling on a Sunday afternoon in Augusta. And he nodded his head and he said, mine is to be the Kings of the Southeast.
Yep.
Be the Hurling Kings of the Southeast. And so at the time, neither one of us reacted to each other's, just sort of nod. But I thought, what a weird thing to say. And he thought of my answer, what a weird thing to say. 100 people playing hurling. And so, but what it comes to, symbolize for me is my vision for the club was to get more people playing the game, to grow the sport. And his vision was to get the people who were playing better and better at playing. And we thought at the time that our goals were the opposite, but actually as we've continued to grow, we find that those goals will work together.
Yep.
Kind of a conveyor belt system, isn't it?
Yeah. So
you're bringing people in, and Erik is training them to murder people in the Southeast.
Yeah, exactly. So it all comes back to that convergence, really, for me, of two seemingly goals that were opposite of each other, but they really do work together, and that's sort of been the way we've done things is to aim at those two goals: grow the club and grow the skill level at the same time.
Awesome, yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, Erik, have you got a standout one as well?
I mean, once again, there's a lot of them. As far as being quickfire, I think I'm kind of gonna continue to ruin that one.
Doesn't have to be quick fire. It's fine. You can talk any broken legs, any more punches, stabs in the back, that kind of thing.
I mean, honestly, there's too many to choose from, and like I don't want to say it was
one over the other. Yeah.
Well, I don't want to say it was that Orlando dude's helmet getting pulled off, but it like it stands
smile
out
on your
loudest.
face says it all.
But that's terrible to say. But like, I'm not gonna lie, it's one of the loudest memories, if you will, that I've got.
I think also I would probably point to once we came back and we had everybody, sort of the core of the club, playing really well. And we finally, I think it was in our tournament 2017, it was the first time we won a game against another club since we started back. And it was playing against Nashville in our own tournament.
Nice.
And we had to, it was a close game. I think we won by a goal. So, just to be able to have everyone who had been, getting slaughtered for some, for a whole year, and to go, look, see guys, we can do this. And that was really fun to watch and
That's
celebrate.
super, yeah. What's actually, since you mentioned it, I forgot to ask you, what's have you got a chance to go to nationals at all, or?
No.
That's the next goal then.
Well, eventually, yeah. And that's one of the things I speak to is that, like, we it's so expensive to get there that, to have everybody travel, and it costs to go and all that kind of stuff. And for me, and I know Erik probably would think differently, but for me, it's like, man, I could spend that much money on equipment. I could spend that much money on bringing somebody in to train us, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
And to help grow the club, to advertise, to get the word out there, that sort of thing. So that's where I tend to want to aim the money. And like we can play games around the Southeast all day long. But and make day trips out of it, because there's 5 or 6 clubs we can drive to and then drive home that night, So
there is a man who has access to a Navy ship who could transport you up the coast, I'm sure.
That would be great.
Yeah, it's in Ireland here we tend to fill cars with like 20 people, so I'm sure we could fit a few people on a Navy ship and put the hurls and stuff. Yeah, I'm sure. I reckon Erik could sort that out, no problem. So
we'll just all hop on the Ike. It'll be good,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I meant to ask it because back in August I was following a lot of the clubs I saw them all getting on airplanes and flying to, I think it was Boston, isn't it, where it's on. So it was
right.
It's nice to see. It's something I would love to. I'd love to go to myself in the future. And even I know last week recently the US GAA reps were over here in Croke Park because the talk of the World Games coming back in 2023, which will be kind of fun. The reason I started this series of the podcast was reading an article about the 2019 World Games when I was sitting on the bus from Chernobyl going back to Kiev, and that's how this started. So I would like to see them come back again, and I'd love to see a maroon and white team at them this time.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, definitely. The couple of the kind of quick fire questions, don't worry, there's no pressure or putting on the spot. If you need to think, it doesn't matter, and you can just pass on them. If you think they're shitty questions, you can just say no, I don't want to answer. It's fine. Erik possibly may have answered the first one, you can decide, but every GAA club, and particularly a hurling club, has to have some kind of tough nut lunatic who pulls off helmets and starts fights. Who is the Augusta representative?
I think myself and Paul Law would be trying to gain that title between the two of us. I think is probably how that goes. I'd say we're the club hotheads. So.
Okay, super. I like that one. Are you guys familiar with Marty Morrissey and Des Cahill, commentators over here?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Have you got a preference between either Marty or Des? Because in Ireland, most people tend to be part of the Marty party or the Des fan club, one or the other.
I mean, I'm not sure as we take it in that regard, or at least for myself, it's just kind of, it's all part of the experience, not deep enough entrenched in it.
I always ask just for more curiosity, because there's a couple of clubs have come on where I'm expecting, I'm like, I mightn't even bother asking, and then they're like, oh no, we're big fans of Marty, and some of them were like, oh no, we love Des, and I was like, okay, yeah, so that's fine. You get to know them. Marty tends to turn up in America quite a lot, so he'll surely turn up in Augusta at some stage. The toughest team you guys have ever come up against?
Charlotte.
Oh yeah,
Easy.
I would say so.
Yeah, okay. It was weird. The same year, it was like in September, we watched them, and they were a female Gaelic football team that had just picked up hurls, and they got they got absolutely butchered in Knoxville. And then we saw them 2 months later, a whole bunch of I think some American dudes in there as well, but mostly Irish dudes, it seems like, and no one could touch them. Like, we thought Brendan Dagg with Charleston would be the team to watch because Brendan Dagg over here is a one-man army.
Okay.
But no, they didn't even stand a chance. Like Charlotte has been mopping the floor with everybody lately.
Yeah.
Okay, Charlotte. Okay, I'll have to find out a little bit more about Charlotte. If you guys could bring Augusta to Ireland and take on any team of your choice, who would you most like a shot against?
I'm
Kristopher's going to say Wexford. Oh, you're going to say Westmeath? Oh,
I'm going to say Westmeath. No.
Our away jersey is green. It's not the nicest.
Yeah. No. As far as county wise, I would not want to try and play Wexford. I'd want to play somebody down the line a little bit from them.
Loud.
There you go. Loud. That works.
They're shit. Yeah, you could play Loud. Yeah. What about you, Erik? Is there anyone you'd like to take on?
I don't know. I mean, like after being at Purdue, there's talking about Westmeath or whatever. I knew this dude, Jack O'Mara from Athlone. So maybe
he's the wrong side of the county. We don't like Athlone. He's the wrong side.
Oh right, yeah. But, I don't know. Maybe like just to play against a club that people I know would be a part of. So actually maybe Sean Gallagher. I think it's Dublin. Did he go back to or wherever?
Yeah.
So maybe his club. Just to play against somebody that I think would be the club.
Super. Yeah. Whereabouts, you don't know whereabouts in Dublin he was from?
No.
Dublin people tend to keep it quiet. Yeah.
I know he's in the path of the airport. He hears planes coming over his house all the time. So.
Oh, he's North County Dublin. So yeah, there's a lot of clubs out, and it's probably it's becoming one of the most built up areas in the world, I would say, at this stage. So he could be anywhere. But yeah, it's I know that's probably for you guys. It's probably actually quite small, but for us in Ireland, it's a monster built-up area in North Dublin and spreading. So that's a good one actually. Taking on someone that that's I haven't had that answer yet. Everyone's just kind of like Dublin. We just want to beat Dublin. We just want to beat Kilkenny. Yeah. We just want to beat the big teams. So yeah, that's the first different answer I've got, Erik. So thanks for that. It was a nice one. Outside of the Masters, what should people know about Augusta? What else have you guys got going on for you?
I think that's the obvious answer there.
Yeah, we're smaller than you think.
Okay.
Everybody thinks because we host the Masters here that it's a huge town. Where there are 17 GAA clubs in the Southeast Division right now, and Augusta is probably third from the smallest of any town that has a GAA club. So that's one of the things that like people think we're a huge town, but like Atlanta dwarfs us. And Savannah, who actually has a club as well, is close to the same size as Augusta. So we're both at the bottom of the list together.
Okay, that's good to know. We only get the pictures on Sky Sports here, and they tend not to really put the camera outside the driveway up to the clubhouse. That's about as far of Augusta as we actually see. So, yeah, it's nice
it's pretty back there,
Yeah, it is. It looks like a nice driveway anyway, if nothing else. So, the next one then, there's only a few left, but every GA person always has to choose between the famous hats, a flag, a scarf, or a headband.
Let's see. I'm wearing a hat
on right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the hat.
Erik, what do you fall into?
I mean, honestly, I'd say flag, but honestly, like, don't make the choice. Just deck out in all Augusta gear. That's the way to do it.
There you go.
So, yeah.
Nice. I'd love it. Love that answer. Yeah. I ask every club this, and I've got very, very mixed answers. But are you guys familiar with Father Ted, the iconic TV show?
Yes.
Absolutely. Nodding head. Brilliant.
Absolutely.
Dare I ask, do you guys have a favorite episode?
I mean,
or moment even.
All of them. And I'd say that Father Jack is just an inspiration. Especially
that is the quote that I am writing down for this podcast. Father Jack is an inspiration.
Hey, like, you work for the government, and all of a sudden he makes all the sense in the world. Like, he's got it figured out. But no, I'd have to say the very first episode I saw was probably the one that'll stick with me the most, and that's cigarettes and alcohol and rollerblading.
Yeah, Perfect. Great answer. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. What about you, Kristopher? Have you got a
Uh,
standout one?
I happen to love the football episode.
The
The
over
the
75s.
all priests over 75 uh, challenge match against Rugged Island. Yeah, that's a good one.
Brilliant. I love it. They're two of my favorite answers I've got to the father take question from any club in the world. And there's been like 40 something and another 30 to go. I'd say that probably won't be beaten in that answer.
Yeah.
Have either of you guys got a favorite GA player in any stage in life that you've come across?
God, there's so many that
Mm.
like I'm probably going to take Eric's answer. I'm not a Kilkenny fan, but DJ Carey is
Yeah.
one of my favorite players ever to watch. Because when I started watching hurling, um, he and Henry Shefflin were playing together on Kilkenny, and that was just incredible to watch. Um, so, Wexford players like today, I like watching Lee Chin. Joe Canning, of course, because he's just incredible. But there's so many that I could keep going.
Yeah.
As far as football is concerned, being a Wexford fan, I'd say Matty Ford.
Yeah, Matty Ford was fantastic. Him and my brother had a very interesting almost shootout in a Leinster club semi-final a few years ago. Um, my brother's club here locally won the county championship and got to the Leinster semi-final, and it basically came down to like a shootout between him and Matty Ford. It was very interesting. But Matty Ford's a phenomenal footballer. We kind of like him in Westmeath because we didn't lose to Wexford too often in football, so we don't mind him. We like him. He's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And what about you, Erik?
I mean, I'd kind of almost have to be basic and say Joe Canning. But then at the same time, like, Chris was onto something there. Like being an American and you don't have the Sunday game or any of this other stuff, like YouTube is your friend for hurling. So I watched the DJ Carey story on YouTube in 360p. I don't know how many times coming up. Like, so yeah, definitely like DJ Carey's up there. But I don't know. This is going to sound really, really dumb. And actually this just came to me, but I'd almost have to say like Shane O'Donnell, just because of like the 2013. The 2013 hat trick in the All-Ireland. Like that was just amazing.
I met him at the All Stars that season. My sister-in-law works at Crow Park, so I got tickets and went, and I'll never forget meeting him because he felt like the the new child in a classroom who was like, why am I here? I don't really know what I'm doing here. He was totally overawed by it all. Very humble kind of guy as well. That's an interesting choice.
Yeah, I mean, he's not really like the big standing name, but just for that performance on that day, it was just like, I don't know. Seemed like I hadn't seen anything like that before.
Yeah, I remember being at that game. It was pretty insane as well to see this almost unknown guy just appear out of nowhere and just do so much damage. I think I could be wrong, maybe I mixed him up, but I think he's studying in America, or has studied in America. Maybe I mixed him up, but I'm pretty sure he studied on the East Coast somewhere as well. I can't remember where, but definitely a good choice. One I haven't had yet actually. Shane O'Donnell's another new choice. The last couple then are sorry, go on, Chris. Yes.
I was going to say one thing. I was surprised Erik didn't mention that we're not Cork fans, but Sean Og has been a kind of him being a defender has been an inspiration to us.
Yeah, Sean Og Halpine is a monster of a dude.
He's awesome. I did contact him a while back actually, ask him would he come on. I haven't heard back from him yet, so if he's listening, please bring me back at some stage. The last couple then are like 50-50 choice questions, so you can just shout out an answer or whatever you want really. But you've got a choice between playing golf at Augusta National or playing at probably Ireland's nicest golf course, which is the Old Head of Kinsale, which is home to my cousin. Is actually you guys have probably become familiar with Seamus Power, I'm sure, over there. My cousin is his caddy. So you've got a choice between the greatest course in Ireland or probably the greatest course in America, definitely.
I've never had the pleasure of playing at the Augusta National, and I'm not a big golfer anymore, but I would probably pick the Augusta National. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Eric, how about you? Are you a golfer at all? Or?
Like honestly, I don't think I'm old enough to play golf. I can still move. So like I'd have to just go with Kinsale just because it's some different real estate, you know. But,
yep.
Yeah.
Kinsale's a great town. Yeah. I mean, I'd love playing there too. So.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. You have a choice then between Augusta's golfing main man Bobby Jones, who designed Augusta, or the great Joe Canning, two very wristy men.
Joe Canning.
Yeah.
One plays hurling, the other plays golf.
I'm gonna say Joe Canning as well.
Okay, super. And then where can I presume it's the O'Neill's website then if we're directing people to check out your gear and everything else? O'Neill's website. Is there anywhere else we should direct people to?
Yes, we do have these jerseys, the maroon and white jerseys we were talking about. Those are on the O'Neill's website. We do not have the new ones, the club ones yet, the league ones.
Nice.
Right here, yeah. Those are different company, but we'll
see that. Yeah,
see that. Yeah, we'll eventually get those up online as well.
Super, yeah. And is there anybody either of you would like to give a shout out to back in Ireland or around America anywhere before I let you guys go?
I think I'd like to apologize to Orlando just a little bit.
It's funny that you say this because as we're recording this, the episode that's coming out tomorrow is Orlando.
We love Orlando. Like I'll about Orlando. When I first started playing hurling, there were, like I said, there were two clubs in the Southeast. There was Atlanta and there was Charlotte, and Augusta and Orlando were clubs number 3 and 4 in the Southeast. And I spoke to the founder of the Orlando club on, I don't know, a weekly, a monthly basis, because we were both at the same point going, what are we doing with this? I don't know if we can handle this. And we'd always sort of build each other back up like, no, you can do it, man. I let me help you. What do you need? And you know, their club is doing great now. And thankfully ours is as well. So, I soft spot for Orlando. They were the first team we ever played in a match was Orlando back in 2010.
Awesome, yeah. So Orlando, so shout out Jimmy is the man I talked to in Orlando. Yeah. Jimmy is a Galway man as well. So a lovely guy. Yeah, their episode is out tomorrow, I think, as far as I remember. But they're definitely next on the list. So but guys, look, I have to say it's been an unbelievable pleasure talking to both of you. And thank you for giving up your time, and I hope everything is going well. And Erik, I hope the Navy keeps going well, and I hope at some stage in life to get to Augusta, whether it be for golf or for GAA or for just driving down, as I like driving around America. So, but I say a big thank you to you guys, and I'll let you go, and definitely keep in touch. And yes. I hope all goes well when things reopen fully for you guys as well.
Thank you for doing these. We really appreciate because a lot of people, like you said, in Ireland had no idea there's a club in Augusta. So, you know, there's a lot of clubs like us all over the country here. So we appreciate you sort of highlighting those and letting people know about us. So.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. It's been awesome. But thanks so much, and I'll talk to you guys again soon, hopefully.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Erik. Thanks, Kristopher.
Yep.
Thank you. See you later. Take care. Thanks. Bye-bye. Coming up the next day on the Loaf of Bread GAA Global, we cut into our next slice. What's a good night out and celebration like with the club after then? What's the general theme in Sweden of celebrating?
Well, we tend to celebrate the night before the tournaments. So like Conor was saying there, we went away to Gothenburg and Malmo, and look, you work with a lot of building sites.
Yeah.
You can't go away the night before the game, you know, and not expecting to drink. Now we managed to, obviously Stockholm the weekend was a home game, we say for us, so we managed to keep everyone out of the pub on the Friday, and we won, you know, down in Malmo and Gothenburg.
On slice 36, I have the pleasure of travelling north of Stockholm in Sweden to the town of Gävle, where I meet Mick from Kilkenny, Dane from Kildare, and former Aerogue Oxford man Conor from Donegal, to find out all about one of the world's newest GAA clubs, Gävle GAA. We chat all about life in Sweden, celebrating before and after matches, the rivalries formed in a short time in Sweden, having good sponsorship, a Viking All-Star GAA team, and making those difficult decisions like ABBA or Daniel O'Donnell. And Dane tells us about the Swedish game of bandy, which he describes as being like a Junior C match in Kildare. And there's also a cracking choice of Father Ted moment. That's next Thursday morning from 9 AM as I continue the journey with 2 slices a week. I'll see you at the Arrivals Hall, but until then, check out the various clubs on the Instagram page and see all the amazing work they do and some of the nicest GA gear going. Find the podcast on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter and on TikTok. Email loafofbreadpod@gmail.com or just simply hit the follow button and spread the word of the Loaf of Bread GA pod across the globe. Slánagi.